Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Jay the Black. Shout out to everybody tuning in. I think we've come to the conclusion of this Dr. Dre divorce. They have now settled things, and he's going to be paying her $100 million to go away. Now, she was seeking half, and she's not going to get half, nowhere near it, but she is going to get a sizable amount of money to leave. Now, we don't know exactly how much Dr. Dre has. It was said he has over it was a half of $1 billion in net worth, or maybe even more, or even close to $1 billion, and she wanted half, but she's going to get 100 million. Maybe this will satisfy her and her attorneys. But I think since Dr. Dre threw his divorce party, I actually did a video about his divorce party. I'll link it in the description box. And I spoke about how Dr. Dre signaled that this was the end of this painful divorce that he'd been going through since last year. Now he can finally move on. This thing has affected his health and his pockets, but now he can finally pay this woman to go away. Now, I don't know if Dr. Dre is ever going to get married after this. I would probably say no, but you never know. He had a prenup and they still didn't accept it because he had been with her for so long. A lot of times these courts feel like these women deserve something, just because she's been there the longest, even though he was taking care of her. I think they need to take that into consideration. But I know a lot of times when I speak about these divorce stories, people love to talk about how, well, these are celebrities. These doesn't affect your average everyday people. I would beg to differ, because there are regular people who have money in the bank. They may own businesses, and they have to end up giving half to their ex-wife. They have to give her the house. They have to give her the car. They have to give her primary custody. And a lot of times when you look at a Dr. Dre, this is a guy who's self-made. And it's crazy how women who do nothing to help that guy build his business, make the connections, make the right investments, they're not there for any of that. Yeah, they're there to be taken care of, but they're not in those meetings. They're not in the studio. They're not, on the court helping the jump shot. But they're able to benefit from these guys' hard work. And I think that's where the problem comes into play, because you have successful women who are able to keep the majority of their wealth, property, and their ex really get little to nothing. You got these famous women, one in particular, Kelly Clarkson, who was able to get a very favorable divorce settlement deal. I believe they end up kicking her ex-husband out of one of the properties. So I just find it funny how when it comes to men, we're automatically supposed to just give a ton of money to these women. But if the roles were reversed, people would look down upon a man for saying, "Hey, she made way more money than me. This relationship is over. I want to be able to maintain the same lifestyle." But we're looked down upon for wanting to maintain. But we're in an equal society. We're in an equal society where men are supposed to be able to have opportunities. Women are supposed to have the same opportunities as those men. But when it comes to debt, when it comes to being able to split assets, if the woman is financially in the best position, she don't want to do that. She don't want to do that. I remember when rapper T.I. and Tiny were contemplating divorce, she wanted the courts to demand that he pays off the debt, that she basically doesn't have to pay any of the debt they owe the government. Now, this is a woman who's been with this guy since the early 2000s. So you want to be able to take half his money in property, but you don't want to have to pay the debt? How equal is that? But anyway, let's get into this article from TMZ. Dr. Dre has settled his divorce case by striking a property settlement agreement with his ex-wife And for Dre's part, we're told he's delighted Nicole is only getting a fraction of his estate. So, I mean, if I was him, I'd be happy too, because she was trying to get half. But she's getting $100 million to go away. Dr. Dre can, recoup that by making a few business deals here and there that he probably has on the back burner just until this divorce is settled. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has some deals that he's going to be working on once his divorce is signed and dealt with. Dre and Nicole just filed their property settlement agreement in which Dre agreed to pay Young $100 million, $50 million now, and $50 million from a year from now. Dre's estimated net worth is $820 million. Listen, if I had $820 million and she only got $100 million, I'd be like, whew, I was, because sometimes throughout this case, man, it looked like she might get more. It looked like, cause she was catching some W's in this, but she was doing a lot of mudslinging. But I noticed Dre never really did any mudslinging. She was the one doing the mudslinging. She did everything she could just to get, in his words, a fraction of his estate. As for why Nicole didn't get half, there's a prenup which she contested. So the prenup kept her from getting half. So the prenup did work, but then in ways it didn't. But in a way, it also, I think, protected him from having to pay half. In exchange, Dre gets to keep 7 of the properties they own, including a Malibu home, 2 homes in Calabasas, and 4 properties in the LA area, including a $100 million Brentwood estate. In addition, Dre gets full rights to his master recordings, trademarks, and interests in various partnerships and trusts, which I think is very important to Dr. Dre, because she was literally trying to get a piece of his name. This woman who did absolutely nothing for his, business dealings, his music career, she was literally trying to own his name. And the fact that he gets the full rights to his master recordings, trademarks, and interests, and I'm telling you right now, dude has probably business deals on the table that he is not going full into until this divorce is settled. He also keeps all of their Apple Music stocks, which includes the proceeds from the sales of Beats by Dre. You talk about closing strong. He is paying $100 million, but if you look at the details, I mean, it looks like he's going to be able to maintain a lot of what he's had. Just paying her $50 million now, $50 million a year from now. They divide a fleet of vehicles. He gets 6, she gets 4. She gets to keep jewelry, cash, and bank accounts that she had maintained during their marriage. Of course, she had her own accounts, of course. Nicole must pay her own legal fees, which amount to millions of dollars. Once again, man, now I see why Dr. Dre was celebrating. He ain't got to pay no lawyer's fees anyway. So all it took was $100 million settlement for her to agree to all this. Sources connected to Dre said Nicole could have actually gotten a bigger piece of the pie had she settled a year ago. One of those sources says she could have been on the field for the Super Bowl halftime show as a friendly ex-wife. There's also some storage lockers filled with items from their various homes. Dre had put the items in storage, and according to the settlement, she gets to keep all the stuff inside that was hers. The settlement forecloses Young's ability to get spousal support, something that was hotly contested during their divorce, because she was getting 6 figures monthly until this divorce was settled. Dre and Young are already divorced per his attorney, Laura Wasser, whose MO is to file to end a contentious marriage and leave money matters for later. Well, it looks like Dre got a very decent settlement here. People actually thought he was going to have to pay her half. No, this is what you call closing. I think his lawyers was a little shaky at first, but I think they were able to really close and give a favorable deal, because this is favorable. If his net worth is $800 million and he only gave her $100 million through all the crap that she put this man through, and she was only able to get 100 million. This is what you call a W. This is what you call closing strong, paying her this 100 million to go away. All it took was 100 million. She got to pay her own lawyer fees. He gets to keep most of the properties. He gets to keep the rights to beat anything he gets from Beats by Dre or anything he gets musically. He gets to keep. She gets none of that. She's going to get 100 million to walk away, and that's it. 100 million property and bank accounts that were already hers. So she did all of this, and and according to Dre's team, she's walking away with less money than she would have gotten last year. See, this is what you call karma. This is what you call mudslinging and getting less on what you thought you were going to get. I think she got desperate. I think she really wanted that money. And I think she wanted to end this just as much as Dre did. But see, Dre has longer money and he can drag this out as long as he possibly could. But again, I think he just wants to move on too. But it's good that a conclusion has come to this. Now they both can move on. And yeah, man, this looks more like a win for him. But y'all can leave anything in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure you like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see y'all in the next video.